Peace, everybody. Welcome to Capital Combat. Name says it all. Hakeem Branch,
Rob Jarrell.
and today we're going to recap the Showtime mega broadcast that happened this Saturday, December 7th. It was a quadruple header which had Sakio Bika and Anthony Durrell. We had was Sean Porter and Devin Alexander. We had the main event, which was Judah-Malignaggi and Zab Judah, and Austin Trout and Arizlandi Lara. I mean, this was a jam-packed card, all championship fights, championship caliber fights we had. I mean, the action in the ring was championship caliber. That's what I'm trying to say here. And it was just an overall great night because you also had the HBO card going on at the same time. They had a UFC card the night before.
That's right.
I mean, this was just a great weekend for fights.
And a World Series of Fighting, just in case you missed that.
Oh yeah, that was a good card too. But we'll talk about that another time. Let's go ahead and get into these fights on the Showtime card. We're going to start with Anthony Durrell at his first world title challenge versus Sakio Bika. Now, in our preview video, we said that preview video, bam, want to check that out. In preview video, we said that it was going to be a rough, ugly fight. I think we got that.
Yeah.
Bika was going to be throwing everything, but including the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink, the shower stall, everything. He threw it all at Anthony Durrell, and it was up to Durrell to use his speed and footwork to befuddle Bika and get a decision. We got a little bit of both. We ended up with a draw. I'm going to talk about it, Rob.
All right, so what do we know? We know Bika, looping punches, power, hell of a chin, very wild fighter.
Bull strength.
Maybe even somewhat dirty. Then we got Anthony Durrell, good boxer, good power, good footwork. A little tweaked in the head, if you ask me. This is not a judgment on his personality, but in that ring, it is something completely different. What did we get? Fight of the night for the Showtime card. Why was it that way? I'll tell you why. They threw everything they could. I mean, Durrell used his superior footwork, hand speed, and boxing ability to start winning rounds early versus Bika, the champion. But we all know, if you let it go to the cards, a lot of people say you have to do more than enough to take the belt from the champion. And Bika, who not your greatest boxer in the world, landed some very flush, heavy shots on Durrell that was actually much flashier. Right. Especially when Durrell was against the ropes. He did his best work when he could pressure and bully Durrell to get against those ropes, get down on him, overhand right, looping left. And that's what really made the draw for Bika, because as the fight went on, he started to wear on Durrell. Now later in the championship rounds, that's where you see both men go toe to toe. And to me, a draw, it might have been right. I mean, you had one, it was a split draw. You had one judge go one way, another judge go the other way, one judge in the middle. You can't really argue with that.
Yeah, the only thing was Durrell had to knock down in like round 5.
That's right.
And even that was kind of suspect because I think he hit him behind the head when he went down.
Bika thought it was more of a push.
Yeah. This fight was really tit for tat. I mean, it was really what were you looking for? Were you looking for the clean, fast punching of Durrell? Were you looking for the big, showy punches of Bika? If you were looking at either one, it's still real hard to call this fight. I mean, even the Showtime announcers had it like, we don't know what happened.
That's
like,
right.
Let's just be happy with the draw. And really, I mean, I understand Durrell's frustration. Sakio Bika was like, whoo, let's move on. And we're gonna move on because that's really all to talk about for that one.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but Bika wants to move to bigger, better things. Durrell wants to rematch. What do I want? I want to see a rematch. I want this to end definitively.
Yeah. Maybe somebody gotta knock somebody out.
That's right.
Then knockouts don't get judged. I tell my guys in the gym that all the time. Just knock somebody out. You don't need to worry about the judges.
Now moving on, we're going to talk about the Erislander's Law versus Austin Trout fight. Two defensive fighters, two great counterpunchers, but guess what? Someone's got to lead, and in this fight, Austin Trout did, which led to a unanimous decision for Erislander's Law.
Yeah, and in our preview video, right here again, we said that the person who took the lead was going to be the person who lost. We weren't sure who that person was going to be when we made the video. We were like, maybe Trout can make Laura lead. Wrong. So wrong. I'll admit it. That was wrong. Like, I was like, maybe I thought Trout would be able to make Laura lead, and Trout came out there like, I don't care what you say, I'm gonna take the lead. And he got sharp shot all night. I mean, Laura was a sniper in there, countering every single thing. And the real bad thing, this happens, you can see this with Orthodox fighters as well, but as Trout tried to work that body, I mean, he just gave Laura a bullseye for that straight left to the head. Every time he tried to jab to the body, Laura shot that shot out there. And Trout didn't have a hard jab to the body like, say, Sergey Kovalev against Ismail Salak.
Right.
When he landed his jab to the body, he kind of folded Salak in a little bit, so where that punch missed his mark. Trout was tapping Laura, so he was just shooting some lasers over his head, and then he just make a wide circle out of the ring. Now, me personally, I don't like wide circling boxing. I like when you stay right there in the pocket, make them miss, make them pay, and it's a little bit easier to get the stoppage that way. You also entertain the fans more. But you can't argue with it because Laura was completely effective. I think I gave Trout 2, maybe 3 rounds.
At most.
And then Laura ended up dropping him in the 11th. And I mean, he hit him with a humdinger. I mean, Trout went down like, oh man, like what just hit me? And he went down in slow motion. Like, you don't really see that too much.
No.
That's something when, I mean, Austin Trout's only been down twice, but when he goes down, it looks real bad.
Yeah, it's his legs, man. Trout is, even though he said he went away from the weight training to try to be quicker, but if you look at him, is a lot bigger up top, and he doesn't have big legs. Not to say that a lot of boxers have huge legs or even really muscular legs, but you could tell the difference. That's why Erislander's Law actually has better balance, in my opinion, than Austin Trout does. Another thing I didn't understand is why Austin Trout fought so low.
Yeah, like I said, gave Laura that laser-like left hand to land all night. You're crouching into his trajectory, and he can lower that shot with like full leverage. And I mean, Laura was throwing a picture-perfect power straight shot. I mean, he put the hip into it, drove through his foot, put the hip into it, snapped that shoulder, and that's what you got.
Now the difference for me is, and it's funny because the one type cut. Now it's funny in watching this fight because the one type of fighter that Laura would have problems against is someone that Trout would actually dismantle. And that's an Alfredo Angulo type fighter who can come forward, weather the storm, and put hands on you. I mean, shots to the body, and that's how he started to break Laura down, was weathering what kind of any firepower that Laura had. I mean, Laura got the TKO victory, but Angulo was laying hands on him. He was putting paws on him.
He got dropped twice in that fight, and but he was landing some great counters too. Erislander's Law is a very, very, very sharp puncher. I mean, he is insanely accurate. Probably, if you look at the punch stat numbers, which I really don't like to look at, but he's just accurate. When he throws, he pretty much knows he's going to hit you. And same thing with Rigondeaux, same thing with Mayweather, same thing with Andre Ward, same thing with Bernard Hopkins. When these guys throw a punch, they know that it's going to land.
But a guy like Kirkland, who we talked about in our last video, check it out, would give Laura fits just because of his pressure and his ability to, if he learns how to properly cut off the ring, he would give Laura fits because that wide circling is going to expend a lot of energy from Laura. Now, against a fighter like Trout, who is a lot better at utilizing the ring, in my opinion, and they're firing back, but also not leading, I think he would give Kirkland or Angulo fits.
Yeah. This was the perfect example of styles make fights. That's how we can sum it up right there. They both do much better against come forward fighters because of their styles. They're both counter punches. They use the ring well. They use their feet, sharpshooters. And when you put those two styles together, one of them had to become a come forward fighter, which was Trout. He got sharp shot to death and lost the fight. So let's move on to the co-feature bout of the evening, which was Devin Alexander defending his IBF title against Showtime Sean Porter. And in our preview video, I'm not going to put it up again. You should have clicked on it by now. Or you can just watch it afterwards. It doesn't matter. I prefer you do that. Go ahead and do that. Anyway, we said that it was up to Devin Alexander to stop Sean Porter from bull rushing him and use his angles, use his feints, turn him all night, work his combinations, work to the body under Sean Porter's high guard, and win the decision, because I didn't think he was going to have the power to knock him out. Unfortunately, he didn't do any of those things. And he ended up getting mauled just like he did in the Timothy Bradley fight. He got beat just like he did in the Timothy Bradley fight. And what he should do is go home and put in the tape of Rigondeaux versus Agbeko and see how it should have been done. Anything you want to add?
I mean, Showtime Porter was pretty much ready for the style that Devin Alexander brought. I mean, he has a weird rhythm. He is athletic, but he just didn't have the wherewithal to deal with constant pressure. Again, and we're not talking about pressure like I'm just throwing punches. We're talking about physical presence, pressure, and being up in someone's chest. And him being southpaw and Porter being orthodox, just like in the Bradley fight, you have a clash of heads, you got tangled up. And I think Porter took full advantage of that to keep his hands moving. Yeah. When you have a guy like that, you need to, again, turn him. You have to hit him with angles. You have to make him say, hey, if I go in here reckless, I'm going to get hit with a counter shot. Yeah. Sean Porter really didn't get hit with counter shots, and I really didn't see him get hit with anything that was remotely effective against Porter, not to deter him from coming in. And Porter being, I would say, a smaller target, even though he's very muscular, he's a little bit smaller target, so, and quite athletic, because he was able to get inside Devin Alexander's punches very easily.
Right.
I just think it just mentally warned Devin Alexander, and Kevin Cunningham really didn't have a second plan. He didn't have a B or C plan to try to nullify that.
Yeah, they were very dismissive of Sean Porter the whole outset. I mean, they were supposed to fight Amir Khan. He pulled out. They put in Porter. They were like, oh, we beat this guy when we were 9. He's going to be a pushover again. Like, come on, that was when you were 9 years old. That was like 20 years ago. Maybe a little bit less. But they're adults now. Then, another thing, Sean Porter called Timothy Bradley and Joel Diaz and said, hey, what did you guys do to get the better of Devin Alexander? He said, hey, I was in his chest all night. I was throwing body shots. I was throwing looping punches. I never let him get into his little rhythm where he throws those combinations. And they were like, okay, well, we could do the same thing. I mean, Showtime Porter is a big guy. I mean, he was fighting at like 154. I think he fought at 160 at one point. And for him to be 5'6", that's really big. Like,
not only that, he played football.
Yeah,
at a high level, so.
Like, the guy is very athletic, which was one of the reasons why the bull rush worked so well, because he was able to work off his toes, kind of jab a little bit, and Devin Alexander never really knew when he was going to do that bull charge. But, like I said, if you would have watched Guillermo Rigondeaux, well, I mean, he couldn't at that point, but if he goes home and does that, he can see Rigondeaux cut that off quick. I mean, he uppercutted Agbeko. He even did some lead uppercuts, and then he just stepped off to the side and was like, go ahead, try it again. I dare you. I dare you try it again. You know what? Before you even try it again, he'll take that uppercut. And Agbeko was like, I don't want no parts of that.
Now, this is interesting because the welterweight division is talent rich. Let's not even count Mayweather. Mayweather's here. As you can see, my hand is not even in the shot. He's here.
Especially tall too.
Well, that too, but I'm just emphasizing that he's here. And then you got fighters like Alexander, Bradley, Pacquiao, Amir Khan may be moving up, Garcia may be moving up, Broner, Thurman, Maidana. I mean, the list goes on. There is plenty of fights for any welterweight out here. But I'd be damned if Top Rank and Golden Boy is not letting it happen. What are you doing, guys?
Yeah, you got Showtime and HBO. They taking sides.
What are you doing, guys?
Yeah. At the end of the day, we the ones that suffer because there's so many fights out there to be made. And it's like, oh, we can't see that because he on this network, or we can't see that because he with this promoter.
Especially with the style matchups, you're missing out on some great fights.
Exactly. Like right now, everybody wants to see Tim Bradley and Mayweather. Not gonna happen. Everybody knows Mayweather does not want any business with Bob Arum. That's another video.
There's something else we're going to go into that's completely.
Yeah, we're going to try and go off a tangent. These are a lot of fights. Let's go into the main event. The main event was Paulie the Magic Man Malignaggi versus Zab Super Judah in the Battle of Brooklyn. And in this one, we were saying, we were of the mindset that because Paulie is a light puncher, then Zab would feel his punches, say, okay, I can deal with this, and he would just bombard him with power shots to take a decision. Because really, you got to be really special to stop Paulie. And even still, he's never been knocked out. I mean, Cotto broke his face. The only reason he was stopped by Hatton and Khan was because his corner stopped the fight.
That's right.
So the guy's tough. He did get knocked down in the second round, so I was like, okay, this fight is kind of going how I expected it to.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Zab Judah just laid an egg. I mean, he just did absolutely nothing for the next. That happened in the second round, so the next 10 rounds, he kind of was just looking at Malignaggi. But it wasn't because he was just looking at him. It was because of what Malignaggi was doing. One, he was snapping his head back. Mm-hmm. I mean, that jab was coming hard. He varied up his punches. He threw a lot of double jab, right hands to the body, right hands up top. He always varied his attack. That kept Zab guessing. Like, what is he coming with? What is he coming with? When can I counter? The shots came few and far between because Malignaggi used his feet very well. He mastered the space. With the exception of the second round knockdown, in which Zab did land a punch, but it was mostly their feet getting tangled up. He kept his foot on the outside of Zab's foot, and he controlled where Zab had to go. Those subtle things that you don't really hear talked about during boxing commentary, that's what Malignaggi was doing to win the fight. And then at this, while it was going on, that was the same thing the commentator was saying. Why is Zab punching? What's going on? He looks disinterested. No, it wasn't that he was disinterested. He was interested. It was just that Paulie Malignaggi was executing his game plan to perfection, so Zab Judah couldn't execute his game plan.
Now, for me, while those little things are what were bothering Judah, Judah's a veteran. And in the history of Zab Judah, he shows infuriating inconsistency. The guy has talent, buku talent. He has hand speed, he's athletic, he has great punching power. But the thing is, when you have those long fights, that if he does not get him out of there, then he doesn't have a clear advantage, he kind of capitulates in the fight. Or he kind of mentally, what's the word I'm looking for?
Breaks down.
Breaks down. I mean, he should have had the better knowledge to say, okay, this guy is using the rhythm. What can I do to nullify it? Along with his corner. They should have came up with something. I mean, you can see the differences when Danny Garcia, he made great adjustments in that fight.
With Matisse? Or the Zab Judah fight?
Yeah,
he did.
I mean, he made great adjustments. He fought Matisse. I mean, he outworked him, even though Matisse was starting to catch up. I just think he had a good game plan. But then you have just other fights like the Paulie Malignaggi fights, like, Zab, what are you doing? You know you can overcome this. Now, we don't know if he can just pull the trigger, if his the boxer career is just nearing the end of the line, or what? But Zab should know better. Zab has the talent, and he has the veteran knowledge to nullify or at least make it more interesting.
Yeah, like you said, he is a veteran. He should have known. I mean, he's been an amateur boxer, I think, since he was like 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's seen it all. He's been through it all. But it's that mental thing. Like Rob said, it's that mental thing. That's what separates the good from the elite. And that's why he's never stayed at the top level. I mean, because of his name and because of his potential, he keeps getting fights. But you don't know which Zab is going to show up.
That's right.
And at the beginning, we thought the championship contender Zab had showed up. Maybe Paulie beat it out of him. Maybe he hits a little bit harder than we think.
Now, what is next for Paulie? What does he want? He just said, yeah, I wouldn't mind fighting Mayweather, but I want Broner. I want revenge on Broner. Bring on Broner. And guess what? Until Broner, after Broner fights Maidana, he's going to hear Paulie's mouth. He's going to be like, he didn't beat me. The cards were this. Al Heyman might have been this. Even though he signed Al Heyman as his advisor, that's here and there. Here nor there.
Yeah.
But we're going to be hearing about Paulie wanting Broner in a rematch. And guess what? If it is in Brooklyn, it's going to make money.
Yeah. And I mean, that fight could be anywhere and make money. Because of the controversy of the first one, because of the back and forth that they had of the first one, I mean, like the mouthing off, I mean, they were spitting some real venom at each other. And this time is going to be even worse if he gets that fight. But like we said for Sean Porter, I mean, the welterweight division is stacked. We can mix and match those guys. Even if we take the top-ranked Golden Boy thing apart, they still have a lot of fighters that they can just match up and have great fights. Mm-hmm. Like, you can have Malignaggi Porter. You can do Malignaggi Thurman. You can do Malignaggi Maidana.
Porter, Thurman,
yeah, all these guys. You can mix and match these guys. And then you got Danny Garcia, Amir Khan.
Victor Ortiz is coming back against Collazo. And if he wins, guess what? Who knows who he may fight? He may fight anyone in welterweight or junior middleweight.
Like, I mean, the possibilities right now are endless. It's really exciting to be a boxing fan right now because, I mean, there's just so many fights to be made in just this one division. I mean, right now it's becoming the glamour division again. And
along with junior middleweight, it's just so many people. If you're just that big welterweight, guess what? You can fight at junior middleweight. If you're a small junior middleweight, you can take that fight at welterweight. Anything can happen.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless right now. In like 10, 15 years, they're going to be like, man, those guys back in like 2010 to 2015, man, that was a great crop of fighters. So we should just sit back and enjoy it and just watch this history as it's getting made. Like, these guys are stepping up to the plate. They're talking about the no stars in boxing right now, but these guys are out there laying it on the line, making great fights, and we just gotta sit back, appreciate it, and enjoy it.
Now, before we go, we gotta give a shout out to TMT, Mayweather Promotions, the money team. They had a sensational card on a Friday night where Chris Pearson, Badu Jack, Mickey Bay, and Jalen Law all won their fights, all by knockout. And even Luis Arias and Ashley Theophane, Arias had the knockout, Theophane, was it
split decision?
Yeah, split decision. I mean, all his fighters won. They are talented, and they're in divisions where they can make some noise. I mean, look out for junior middleweight, look out for super middleweight, and if Jalen Love, gets his weight issues under control, even middleweight. So keep an eye on that. If they replay it, definitely watch it. They were all good fights, and you saw some improvement in all the fighters.
Oh yeah, that Mayweather Promotion stable is very promising. Those are some young up-and-coming guys who in the next year or two we'll be seeing them getting some title shots. And that's just to reiterate what we just said about this these young guys coming up. We got some good guys. Let's enjoy them. That's it for this video, guys. There was a lot of fights to talk about. We got a lot more to talk about, so we're gonna have another episode right after this, which you're gonna watch.
That's right.
Anyway, make sure you like this video, like it on YouTube, like it on Facebook, +1 it on Google+. Comment down below, comment on Facebook, comment on Google+. We'll answer you.
Send an email.
Send an email, we'll answer that. Like we've already answered a few mailbag questions. Well, I think it was just one, but anyway, we answer them. Like our Facebook page, Capital of Combat. Follow us on Google+. If you're on our YouTube page, subscribe on there. We got links to both Google+ and Facebook on there as well. Get in contact with us. We love to talk to the fans. Even if you disagree, I mean, just, we don't mind having a great debate.
Hey.
Just share your feelings, man. Tell us how you feel. Say it with your chest. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.
This is round 1 and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane, I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.